Welcome to Internet Safety. What you don't know will hurt them. So first, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Albert Brown. I'm the CEO and founder of North Agency Consulting. I'm passionate about empowering families and communities. I have over a decade of experience working with students and families. Now, statistics tell me that if I show you pictures of my family, you're more likely to listen to me. So on the far left, you'll see there my oldest daughter, Caitlin. In the middle, you'll see myself, Brooklyn, Caitlin, and my wife, Katina. Brooklyn again, there on the far right, smiling away. She's my youngest daughter. In this session, you will learn how online predators target your student, top apps used by online predators, dangerous online habits of teens, how to identify hidden apps and covert activity, tools and resources to monitor online activity. Now, I'm going to preface this session just letting you know that each one of these topics could be a class in and of itself. There is a wealth of information out there, and this is serving only to provide just a brief overview of these topics, some things to be mindful of, ways that you can assess your knowledge gaps in regards to technology, digital communication, social media. And these are things that I've learned from other experts. And as you see through the presentation, you'll notice at the bottom of each slide, you'll see a source where you can go back, review the information, look at all the other additional information that is there for you. So I want to say that I'm in no way an expert. I've had the opportunity to lead this course and doing my engagement work with parents for regional conferences for educators, of course, for parents, for large groups and symposiums. So with that being said, let's continue on.
Kristen was a very healthy, happy, well-adjusted 14-year-old. She excelled in school. She was on the track team. She got along well with her brother. She called me an overprotective mother because I always wanted to know what she was doing, where she was going, drove her everywhere she was going. She was such a pleasure to have around the home that there's just an absolute void now, an absolute emotional void. And that empty seat at the table.
It was 8th grade when Kristen, a good student, got her computer.
Kristen was not allowed to have a profile on any social networking sites. My son did discover that Kristen had her profile up on a social networking site, and that day we took her computer away for 5.5 months.
What Danielle didn't know was that her 14-year-old daughter, Kristen, was already involved online with 27-year-old Kylie Ryan Bowers.
The day before Kristen's birthday in 2006, it was June 4th, I heard her wailing and crying in her room, very, very deep sobs. I went in and asked her, honey, what is wrong? What is wrong? I'm so worried about you. And she goes, Mom, I need to talk to you. He used me. And I said, who used you? And she proceeded to tell me about a 27-year-old man from Texas that had told her he loved her, told her she was beautiful.
Danielle was stunned, and then came the bombshell. Bowers had already lured her daughter to a motel room.
She went with him in the night at 1 o'clock in the morning after we had gone to bed and went to a motel with him where he sexually attacked her. She was crying. She told me that she felt like he raped her. Everything in a mother wants to protect and rescue their child. That's how we're made. And when something so awful happens, you just think, I didn't protect my child.
And all of this had been happening, and neither you nor your husband nor your son or anybody in the house knew.
No.
So how many times had she met him?
Only once.
Only once?
Only once, but he lured her for 8 months prior to that. 8 months. And she said, Mom, I didn't know I could get so emotionally involved. And he was so expert at saying, you're beautiful, you're smart, you're attractive. I just think you're the most amazing person. And at age 14, 15, our emotions are so heightened and our hormones. I was trying to grasp an understanding of this at the time because it was so shocking. But as I thought about it, basically the internet opens the door and offers the opportunity for a predator to court a child and lure them emotionally.
Why do you think she then killed herself? Because she had confessed to you and you were understanding about it? What did you say?
Oh, well, I immediately said we need to call the police, and she was very cooperative. That was that day, it was June 4th, 2006. I said we need to call the police, and she goes, Mom, I will fully cooperate. I realize now he used me, and he raped me, and he threw me away. And she became clinically depressed 8 weeks before her death. To answer your question, the clinical depression that was brought upon her by him and his assault of her, and then his cruelty afterward. After he got what he wanted in his flight to Texas, then he became cruel on the internet.
To her.
To her. And then she overnight became clinically depressed, could not get out of bed. And clinical depression is a fatal, lethal place to be. And I believe that's why she took her life, as well as with the pending court, because the FBI was now onto him, and she was going to see him.
So sharing that story with you is really just trying to get us to give a frame of reference as we start this discussion, understanding that you can be an engaged parent, you can do all the right things, you can, as in the story's outline, do everything you can to try to monitor, keep your student from engaging in certain activities and putting themselves at risk online digitally, and it can still happen. So the ideal is that I want you to understand that it can happen to your student. It's not just kids or teens of parents who are not engaged. Teens with engaged parents also miss some of the signs, also have knowledge gaps, and their students are also susceptible to some of the same temptations of every teen experiences. So how do online predators target your student? So I came up with a suspicious online behavior checklist. And as I mentioned before, all the information I'm providing, you could find the source there at the bottom of the screen where you can go back and look it up and see if you can obtain some more information, better understand it. But once again, we're providing a brief overview. So suspicious online behavior checklist. They want to sound nice. And that's kind of a dead giveaway. That's obvious. Most predators are not overt in their ask of a teen. They spend a lot of time what they call grooming, developing trust, trying to get them to see them as one of their peers, or see them as a person who is an influencer and a guru in the sense that can help them through life. They want conversations in private. And as I had this meeting before, the reason why they want the conversation in private, they want to limit any interference from someone who, such as an adult, that will have the experience and logical reasoning abilities to identify something that doesn't seem right or is a threat. And keeping those conversations in private, they're able to control what is happening in the relationship between them and the teen. They are creating, in a sense, a separate world where they exist alone with that teen, and they are the ones who have all the answers and all the influence. They ask a lot of questions. And asking a lot of questions, they're doing it for multiple reasons. One, they want to identify where is the teen located, where are they located. Two, they use that information to then further persuade the teen to believe that they care for them, that they're there for them. They find ways to play on their emotional insecurities to further ingratiate themselves in their lives. They want to know who is involved in their life. There's many aspects, but what they're doing, they're trying to understand who this person is to understand how they can best present themselves to win them. They use threats of exposing shame. And something I've mentioned in a previous presentation is that adults have to understand the context of this. And I want to bring it home for us because what What we see teens experiencing and say they are stressed and frustrated about, we often as adults can look on the other end of that and say, oh, it's really not that serious. But let's translate the threat of exposing shame. Imagine if someone knew something really personal about you as an adult, really personal about you, and they threatened to tell everyone you know about that secret, that thing that you confided in them on. How would you feel as an adult? Well, if you will feel that way as an adult, that's exactly how that teen feels. Even if this is something just as trivial as high school issues or something that was said on Facebook. Once they put it out there, now everyone is exposed to the thing that they feel is most embarrassing about themselves. And now their peer group is looking at them differently, the same way your professional network you feel would be looking at you differently. So I want you to keep your mind in the frame of, let me see through the lens of my teen. Let me understand it, because most of what they're experiencing, we're experiencing as well. We have just transitioned the means by which we're experiencing it. Bullying happens at school. Bullying happens in the workplace. Bullying is the fact that someone exerting power over you and authority that they have to force you to do something. We've all experienced it, engaging with supervisors or managers or CEOs, where we felt we had to do something that we did not want to do because we wanted to appease what was requested of us. So just keep your mind around the framework that how a teen is experiencing this is very much the same way that you would experience it in your context. Uh, the the predator will pressure an in-person meeting, and that's extremely obvious there because they want to be able to get close enough to do whatever harm they decided and plan and plotting to do. So it's perfectly understand for them to try to push for in-person meeting, because then they can physically touch that person. They can control where that person goes, and they can do what they are desiring to do at the onslaught of them stalking your student. They make you feel that their behavior is normal. So if a person is as a predator is escalating their encounters with that student, and they may say, hey, yeah, I can't send pictures to you, and it's like, well, the student may say, well, why is that? I mean, everyone sends pictures on here. And they say, well, I'm a little different. I'm just a little more private than that. And so any red flag that was there, they try to turn the narrative so that the student can feel that, okay, this is normal. Okay, this is fine. They overly agree with you. So with your team, they're overly agreeing with the team because it develops trust. It's hard not to see a person as an ally who always agrees with what you say. It takes a certain level of experience, and as we know as adults, and even as adults, we still struggle with that because it is very natural to want to seek out affirmation. And the predator knows that, and they use it to their advantage to ingratiate themselves and gain trust. And for many times as parents and myself, as I have younger children, I have to understand that I have to operate in the role of a mentor, not the judge. The judge's job is to convict of a criminal of offenses, to find justice, and to render judgment and punishment. The mentor's role is to help their mentee learn how to navigate life and to avoid the pitfalls and to keep them from being a person who creates chaos in the world, but a person who adds value. So the mentor is about helping the mentee develop independence, values, and wisdom to discern situations. Whereas the judge, you're there just to determine if it's right or if it's wrong and to render a consequence. So as parents, the predator sometimes takes our place because they understand that their relationship with that student, they spending more time engaging, having conversations, getting to know them versus us on our end that we're busy providing for the students' needs. We're paying the bills, we're making sure the education's in place, but we don't have the quality intimacy that they are experiencing with that predator. So when it comes down to it, the student and their team may more likely trust the predator because they've been talking with them. They share their heart with them. They share their concerns. This person is affirming me versus a parent because they feel the parent doesn't understand them. The parent doesn't know them. So spend time cultivating those relationships. Let's keep going. The predator will stalk your social media, and many of us may be guilty of doing it even now. as we're trying to get to know people, or people who are trying to join our social networks, whether that's digitally or um, in person, we want to know, who is this person? Do they fit in with my philosophies, my ideas, my values? How do I approach them? And the predator is thinking, let me learn this person so I know how that I can trap them, how to present myself to get them to trust me. They make you feel special. They come to the rescue. So if you're having a fight with your mom or dad, the teen's having a fight with their mom or dad, and the predator is right there saying, hey man, listen, if you need to cool off, I'll come pick you up. Or you're telling the teen, hey, you know what? If you need a place to stay, hey, come stay with me. It's not a problem. I mean, we know each other. We've been talking this long. They try to create mistrust. So any person that's trusted in the teen's life, they want to discredit that person because they want to be the only person of trust. They want to have the greatest level of the teen to have the greatest level of confidence in them than anyone else. They offer gifts. They ask for pictures or video chat. Did you know WhatsApp and Signal message encryption is so good that not even the CIA can hack into it? This means that only the sender and receiver can send messages. It's known as end-to-end encryption, to where the information that's shared can only be interpreted by the devices of the sender and the receiver. And Signal is a very similar app as well, except they feel like they've taken it just a little further, because WhatsApp is connected now with Facebook, and they feel like there may be a data breach, whereas Signal says it's its own independent entity. So all information that's shared to and fro and back and forth is completely private. So predators use this type of apps and devices to communicate with your students, because with the messages they send would never show up in the student's phone. They don't show up in the text messaging area of their phone. You don't see it on your phone bill. And if the student deletes what was sent to them, then the only person who has it is the predator who sent it.
Goodness. Is Kermit the Frog wanking?
Maybe.
Maybe. Hi, Kermit.
How you doing?
Better now I've seen you.
Oh, damn. What you doing on Omegle?
We're really bored.
Coming to find you.
Oh, nice. Well, here I am.
How's Miss Piggy?
Pretty good. She's out of town, so I'm on here looking for baddies.
Wanking.
You found the
Maybe.
right one.
Right? Oh, damn. Mind if I finish, or... Can I finish?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, I thought you meant his sentence. Okay.
Now, take a moment and let that process. Have you ever heard of the Omegle app? I've had a presentation, and many adults have no clue. I've never heard of this app. And it's one of many apps where students are able just to interact with strangers live. And is actually really popular among teens. Do you see what a student can be exposed to? That they're not even aware that it's a danger? Things that they're exposed to that you're not even aware of, that they are learning things from people who don't have their best intention, their well-being at heart, who are looking to prey on them, who may expose them to something that shapes your child in a way that you can't repair. What apps do online predators use the most? Now, here's a list of some of those apps you can see down in the source. You can go and check out more of those apps. Scout, Kick is very popular among teens. Of course, Snapchat as well. Snapchat allows you to send and receive messages that disappear. You get to post things to your friends and followers that disappear after 24 hours. TikTok is very much like a lot of the other platforms such as Instagram, where you can create these short videos and share. Ask FM is one that is often used when they talk a lot about cyberbullying, because it allows you to send anonymous messages to those people who you are connected to through this app. So a person can find your particular profile and send you an anonymous message or something in response to your question. And students use this to say, things that are going to destroy a student, hurt them, cause them stress and worry. And let's go back to the adult thing with this, because the thing you would say, hey, what does it mean? It's just words. Well, let's imagine you've completed a project and you receive a message that says, this project was trash. I hate that I had to be on your team. I think you should be fired. And I'm going to do everything I can to do that. But the message doesn't have any from. So what are you going to feel like as a professional, as an adult? What's going to go through your mind? You're going to find yourself worried. You're going to find yourself stressed. You're going to find yourself angry. You're going to find yourself wondering, who said this about me? And now you're walking into your workplace looking at everyone like a suspect. This is the same stress that the teens would experience in those in their various scenarios in high school life, as everything is about social connections and social collateral. Meet Me, they are using dating sites. Teens can get on these dating apps. Even though it says you have to be a certain age, it doesn't restrict them from actually getting on those apps, and they're using those apps. If a child drops enough information for the predator to glean their location, a predator may threaten the child in other ways, like promising to show up in person, hurt the child or their family members if the child does not comply. As you can see here, there is a lot of gaming apps. One, Roblox, Twitch, Fortnite, and Minecraft. And with Roblox, that's something that my daughters fought with me to try to get on. And I said, let me go check it out first. So I looked at it and I noticed a site that unless you change all of the settings, such as disabling ability to chat with people, location settings, that any stranger, any random person, it'll be the perfect place for a predator to prey, because they're allowed to have these communication with kids who are assuming that it's another kid when they have no idea they're talking to an adult. So for them to be able to play that, I said, let me look at it. I disabled all those features. They can only play within the actual little graphic worlds that are created by the actual Roblox, because Roblox also allowed the members on the site to create their own little worlds. But I refuse to allow much girls to do that, and they cry about it all the time. Hey, just allow Dad, just remove the privacy, remove the settings. So, but they don't understand the danger that will be putting them in. They don't understand the people who are lurking on these various apps. Even though the apps may be innocent and have an innocent purpose, people will use anything in very malicious and hurtful and criminal ways. So for that reason is how I protect them. So I'm not telling you in this particular discussion that you should just get rid of these apps. Here are the apps you should tell the student to get rid of. Once again, we go back to the philosophy of a mentor or a judge. How can I help my student develop the right values, the understanding, so that they can use this technology properly and minimize their risks of hurt, harm, or danger? Fortnite. Most teens are playing Fortnite. I mean, girls and boys. And even if a person is not a predator, how many of you really want a 40-year-old man who's playing games all day to be giving your teenage son advice, or to be giving your teenage daughter advice? Even if they have no intent of preying on your student, is that who you want influencing them?
The house right next to it, this white house, was lifted off of its foundation and moved. The house next door, you can see some siding that has come off and a power line that's down right in front of it. Now, I have Anton Williams here. He lives in that house with the power lines down on it, and he was home when this happened. And Anton, you keep saying, I can't believe this is happening in Greensboro, right?
Right.
So tell us what you were doing and what you saw.
I was sitting at home, and I was playing Fortnite, and all of a sudden I just hear a bunch of noise, and I look out the window, and I start seeing the roof come off the houses in front of me. But then I sit back down because I only got like a couple people left in my gang. I was going to try to finish the game. But then it just started getting worse, and then I saw the power lines come down. So I told my sister and my nephew to come to the bathroom so everything would be okay.
What did you hear? I mean, was it loud noise? A lot of people say it sounds like a train, but did you hear anything or hear anything hitting against your home?
No, I really didn't hear anything, but I really did hear when the roof started coming off the side of the house, and then when the truck flipped, then I heard that.
And what's going through your mind as you said you're in the bathroom with your sister and nephew?
I'm like, Honestly, I was just thinking about the game. But I was hoping everybody was okay around me. But when I came outside to check on my neighbors, they said everything was fine.
And tell us, you said that you talked to the people who were in the home that was lifted up off the foundation. What did they tell you?
They said they just told their family to go inside the restroom, but they felt the house being lifted up off the ground.
And you said that they felt kind of being thrown?
Yeah, they felt the pressure of the wind coming through the windows.
Okay. And as you're walking outside and you're seeing this damage, what do you think?
I'm thinking like, I didn't even know something like this would happen in Greensboro. You can't picture this happening.
Okay. Well, we're glad you're okay.
Once again, that video was just kind of giving you the insight into the mind of a teen. That kid is not any anomaly. That most teens are oblivious to the dangers that they are in and day out. Here he is in the middle of a tornado, and his main focus is, I have to finish the game. So as parents, we have to be those, we are their protectors, to help teach them how to recognize danger and how to make the appropriate steps. As you can see, you can hear the young man knew kind of some of the things to do in a tornado, but his understanding the urgency of what risk he was actually in. What are the dangerous online habits of teens? They share their location. So sharing a location is something that teens receive tremendous social collateral with. Very much the same way as we as adults would do the same. So you say, hey, yeah, I don't really share my location. I don't care. But if you go on a trip to Dubai and you're at the tallest building there, many of us will have a hard time resisting tagging ourselves there, saying, hey, I'm in Dubai, so everyone can see it. And people who don't like you can see it. And people you don't really care that much about can see it. And somehow it makes you feel good. But also the predator can see it. They can see that you're not home right now. And they know the time it takes to travel from Dubai back to the States. So now we have unlimited time to clear her house out or clear his house out. Same thing translates back to a team. They have the same level of they have a greater level of desire for social collateral in that I've been somewhere that you haven't been. I'm doing something here that's you probably hadn't done, or that I'm somehow I fit in, or I am in a upper echelon of the social ranking. So they offer private information to the public. That's like telling where you are, where you're going, where you live, taking pictures outside of your house. You can see your address there. There's even a famous story about a rapper who he rented a home in LA named Pop Smoke, and he was always on live sharing everywhere he was located. And the young man was in his 20s, and he accidentally got a shot of where he lived, because then the people who came and actually attacked, robbed, and killed him, they knew where he was based on the front end of the house, how the picture of the house that he placed, the image of the house that was in his live. They knew where that was located, and beyond that, he also got the address inside of the image of the live. Once again, we teens are not thinking that far in advance. They're not that far ahead, even though they feel like they are the smartest in the world and they know it all. They actually know very little. And we can remember those times. No matter where you are in life, you understand what it was like. You can remember back to what it was like to be a teen. And as we look at the things that they do and we say, oh, I don't understand what's wrong with my kids, why they're thinking like this. There's someone who's older than you who looks at you and says the same thing. Someone who's further down the line in life that's had the experiences that you are now experiencing, that looks at your situation and say, hey, it's not that serious. But we want to be able to understand it from the lens of our students, our teens, so that we can best guide them and we can best help them to avoid the pitfalls and help them work through those difficult situations. So they also post compromising posts and messages. You know that they say whatever's on their mind. They post things that they shouldn't post. They don't understand that people will screenshot those images that'll be brought up later. Students are being expelled for the things they're putting online. They're also facing criminal charges. This wide range of things. And beyond that, it compromises you as well as the parent, the guardian, because what they say and do, it may give indication of where you live, where you stay, where you work, what you have. And that's drawing a lot of attention and predators towards your location. They're interacting with strangers. How many of us actually know the 100+ people we have on our friends list, those of you who use social media, how many of us actually know those people? Like, we've met them. We are trusting them because we see they're friends with a person that we do know. In the end, they're still strangers, and we're sharing our whole life with strangers. They know what our kids look like. They know generally where we live at. They know what town we're in most times. They know our birthday, all the things they can use to actually find our real address. Because I can tell you, if you give me your name and your birthday, and I can discern what city you live in, I can pull up your whole address. I can find exactly where you live. I can also find out if you own a home. I can find that out as well. If I can do that, a predator can easily do that. And that's what they're looking for. They visit unsecured sites or apps. So there's many apps and new apps. Anyone can create an app. And there are many apps that are only out there for the sole purpose of gathering back-end data and intel. So criminals are using those apps to then get your kids to sign on it, to download to your phone. Now they have access within your phone. And this is why we see so much cybercrime and things like that, because we are actually giving the access to people that we don't even realize. When we receive a strange text message that says it's from the USPS and it seems like it's legit, and we click on the link and we're like, it didn't go anywhere. We've possibly have introduced malware onto our phones where they are either designed to disrupt the phone or our desktop or laptops, tablets, or is designed to pull information secretly that you're not even aware of.
Somewhere in the depths of your child's phone, there could be a lot more than meets the eye.
Have you heard of any of these apps right here?
I have not.
Do any of these apps look familiar to you?
No, none of them actually.
But teens, you don't have to ask twice.
So have you heard of this one here?
Kick?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do any of these apps sound familiar to you?
Yeah.
Apps lurking behind the curtains, allowing children to have secret conversations with strangers, send private photos, and more.
One of the most popular is the calculator app lock. You can see at first glance it appears to be a harmless calculator, but when you type in a selected passcode, this is what shows up: a hidden vault of photos, videos, and notes. It even allows you to search the internet in a private browser.
I have friends that actually use that app before. Yeah.
Why do they use it?
To hide stuff from their parents.
They know it's bad, but they'll do it anyways.
And there are a lot out there, like Kick, which allows private messaging with anonymous people, and dating apps specifically for teens, like Yubo, previously called Yellow, which is location-based, plus Hot or Not and Wishbone, where you can rate strangers. On others, like Whisper, users can share secrets and post rumors.
These apps show that teens are quite savvy with the spectrum of options that they have out there.
But to see apps like that and they're easy accessible, it's kind of scary a bit.
We FaceTimed with Andrew Lee of the Digimentors team. He recommends activating the Ask to Buy setting in the App Store, which only allows an app download if it's approved by a parent.
Read the ratings in the App Store and any kind of warnings out there.
I'm going to start looking into it a little bit more now.
Another one to keep a closer eye on is Instagram, because one user can make multiple accounts, making activity difficult to track. Rena Roy, CBS 2 News.
Well, some apps are also accessible on desktops and iPads, so it's also important to keep an eye on those as well.
How to identify hidden apps and activity. So for many of us on this, listening to this session, that's probably one of the major concerns that you have. But there's some simple solutions to find out what's on your student's phone if you want to make sure that they are using apps, or you just want to be aware of what apps they're using, so you can have those discussions with them. So if you pull up their iPhone, you get their phone from them, you go to the search, iPhone or Android. I'm sure, almost certain it works the same way. If you go to scroll to the farthest to the right to where you're on the page that shows like your time and your calendar, and you scroll up to you look at the top, there's a magnifier with a little search bar. If you start typing in some of the apps that you are most concerned about to see if the student had downloaded them. It will show if they're on their phone or if they've been previously downloaded. You also can click on their account. There's you see there on the left. You would click into their account there, their Apple ID account. It'll look at the purchase apps. So purchase doesn't mean that they had to use money. It's even considered purchase when it's when it's free. And it'll show you everything that's been downloaded is free. Now, some students, if they're really trying to be very covert, they can go to the point of where they are removing it from the search results, where they can hide the app you see in the middle. They go to that and then they can hide those apps. Now you know where to look in the settings, in the Siri search, how to find hidden apps and where they've been hidden. And if you want to get any more information, once again, the sources are down there at the bottom. You want to find their online account. I think the easiest way to find their online account is to create a fake account or use your account that if you're already on Instagram. For instance, you're on Instagram, you want to know if they have an Instagram account, sync your contacts. Because what most students fail to do, even when they're creating fake accounts, is still use their real phone numbers and use their real emails so that it's still they're able to be found on those social media networks, because that's the real driving engine that is used by these social media networks. Your personal identifiable information, and if they don't share with the public, they're still using it. And what social media wants to do, they want to connect you to everybody you're connected with, so they don't care that you're trying to hide it. So they search for them by their phone number, email. Also, you can search for the online presence via Google image search. So Google image search works much like Google search, where you type in your words that you want to find or thing you want to look for. Well, with Google image search, you take an image and you paste that image into the search area, or you upload it there, and it will search the entire internet to find any similar image that matches the image you shared. So if someone you feel like they have to adding to a profile, you don't know if they're a real person, you can save that profile photo, upload it to Google image search, and then it will sync you back to everywhere that image has ever appeared or a similar image. And you may find out, oh, that's not the same name as this person said they are. Or you may put an image in of a location or something, and you may realize, oh, they said this location is in this city, when in fact it's here, and I can see it's here because this is the exact building that I can see in the corner of the shot. Google image search is your best friend as a parent. Do they have a hidden device? So if you go to your router, and if you have Wi-Fi, everyone has a router. It's the thing that's lighting up that you feel is connecting your internet. So within the router, if you look at the model on your router, you can go to YouTube. YouTube is your friend as well, and you can put in there how to connect my router, how to interpret the information that's on my router, how to see what devices are on my router. It will show you how you can access your router via your browser portal. And when you get access to that router, you can also change the name that the router brings up when you select for your Wi-Fi, that name. You can change the SSID, which is security ID, the password essentially you're putting in to get connected to the Wi-Fi. And more importantly, you can see all devices connected. So if a student has a hidden device, you take their phone and they have a hidden device, one of the easiest things you can do is just go to your router interface via your desktop and see what device is connected. If you don't recognize the device, block it, or go and search out and find out, hey, what's going on? Who are they secretly contacting and when? Go to your cell phone carrier's website. You can log into your account. You can review the text, data, and phone usage for your teen's phone. Some of you guys may already know how to do this, so I may be repeating something you know. For those who don't, this is a way for any accounts that are on your contract. You're able to look at the usage that are on those accounts. And as you look to the right at the image, you can see it'll tell you the date, the time, the number, what form of information it was. So in this particular example, there was text or an IM message. Then it also shows you mobile data. That when it's happening, that means that app usage. Apps are uploading and downloading information, or you're using it. And in that you can't see, if you look at the bottom of it, it even gives you a legend that tells you who sent it, who's sending, and who's receiving. When the person you're looking at their account, when did they send this text, or when did they receive it, or when did they make this call, or who called them? All the information is there. So for most teens, they're not that sophisticated, even thinking they're far ahead. What they're doing, they're taking a phone and they're just deleting the text messages, or they're deleting the log history. But this is something you can know if you ever had question or doubt about what's going on. And once again, continue to reiterate that this is all about trying to help them to navigate, not so much to catch them up in something or to get them to issue consequences, but more so that you can be aware and conscious of what's going on in their life. Where are they going? If you turn on Find My Phone on the Android, or if you have an iPhone, you turn on Find My iPhone on their phone, you will always know where they are going. And the reason why I say you'll know where they're going is because rarely to ever is a person going to leave the house without a cell phone nowadays. Even as us as an adults, rarely to ever will we leave the house without our phone, and the teen is definitely holding on to it. So even if they feel like they know you've placed it on there, in time they're going to forget. They're not going to worry about it, and they're definitely not going to leave their phone. But more importantly is that something that says, hey, you know, this is, this is my phone. I don't want you putting it on here. But you have to think about it as a parent that, you are not their friend, you are their protector. And if they can't tell you where they're going, it's a good chance they don't need to go there. If they feel that they need to have a level of privacy, as an adult would, then there's the things where you need to sit down and have those conversations about their role, your role, and why you are in their life, and giving them guidance on the reason why it's important for people to know where you are, because you can be attacked, something can happen to you, and then no one knows where you're located. You also can tell them if you're ever in a situation and they say, hey, I'm here, mom, or I'm there, I'm at this place, mom. And if you have doubts, or maybe you just want to make sure so you can know for your own peace of mind if something happens, tell them to share my location in Google Maps. Go to Google Maps and tell them to hit share my location. It will send to your text message a pin of their exact locations down to the actual coordinates. So if you were to click it on your phone and you need to go drive to where they are to pick them up or whatever, you just simply click it. It'll pop up in your Google Maps, give you directions directly to their location.
So much of parents' fear around social media use comes from this fear that their kids' lives will be ruined forever. And we see that a lot of times online, where people make poor decisions and then their lives are affected in pretty dramatic ways. But I think it's important to step back with kids and help them understand, how can you be more intentional about how you're spending your time online, and how can you align those with your values? The smartphone was only really released about 10 or 12 years ago. So all these apps are new for parents as well. Kids are going through some treacherous terrain when it comes to technology and social media use. But we also need to understand that they're using technology for some positive things: learning, understanding, communicating. So when we do that, we become more open to helping kids in an objective way that protects them from some of the detrimental, draining, and dangerous things that may happen online or in real life. So where do I start? What do I do? The first is this idea of developing awareness. Learn what apps your kids are using, learn how to use them, download them on your phone, and then you can come from a framework that's more objective rather than coming from a place of fear and telling kids they can never use something. The second thing is creating opportunities for daily and weekly digital detox. Taking kids' phones and devices away at night can be a really easy way to do this. And a lot of times kids will tell me, I don't want to tell my parents this, but I'm really grateful that they take my phone away at night, because then I can tell my friends I'm not available after a certain hour. Otherwise, it becomes this feeling of always online, always having to react. And kids don't want that either, but they don't really know how to effectively self-regulate. And the third thing is helping kids figure out their why. Why you're reaching for your phone, or why you're posting, or why you're taking so many photos when you're with friends. The idea
So tools, resources to monitor online activity. So you have a couple of things here, and you can see more of those down there once again at the source. Family Link is something that I use with my girls. It allows me to monitor anything they're playing on the apps, and before they can even download any app, I have to approve it. So it gives me time to see it before they even access it. It also shows me how long they're on their tablets. So that's one I do recommend to help easily keep track of all the information, things that are happening, sites they're visiting, things of that nature, anything they can do, they're doing digitally online. Family Time is another. Bark, Norton, and Custodio. Norton also provides protection, mobile security. We talked about that malware. So you have the spyware, the Trojan horse, those things that would possibly infect your phone. Norton is designed to kind of see those dangers and those risks and provide you notification before you click on those links or engage in those sites or things of that nature. So once again, I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to this session. If it's something you feel it was of value, please shoot me an email at noisiv@gmail.com. That's Noisiv, Noisiv agency@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you. If you have a group, organization where you would like to get access to this particular training or have me come out and do other trainings, engage your parents or students, because I do have a internet safety for teens that I do as well. So it gives them the internet safety from their perspective to help them better understand it. So thank you for watching this and joining me in this particular session. If there ever can be of assistance, please reach out. You can follow me on all social media platforms such as Facebook and Instagram at Noisiv Agency. And please go look at my site. You can learn more about what I do and how I may be able to support what you're doing. And that's at ourvisioninc.org. Take care.